Stitches, a name you probably ain't heard in forever, been really missing from the public eye for a while, and I'm here to explain what really happened to the man. The Miami native first started rapping under the name Lil Phil, but before growing up, his life was kind of bad. I'm talking about bro was getting in trouble 24/7 and allegedly got expelled because he punched the principal in the face. And after getting out of jail for punching his principal, he never went back to school and was just living his life until eventually he made the decision to leave the area and go out on his own. He went to South Beach, Florida. But when he got there, he realized how broke he was. He really started to think like, bro, I need money now. Like, how can I get some money now? Like, I'm tired of being broke. So he got right to it, selling drugs, weapons, anything he can just to get by. And while he was doing this, he decided to make a crazy decision. He got some face tests. And he said the only reason he got them face tests was so he could never get a regular job. But look, while he doing all this robbing, selling drugs, getting face tests, he was building his rap career in the background. And it started to gain a little bit of success. After dropping a few hours, he eventually dropped the one that would change his life, Supply and Demand. And on that album, bro had a song on there named Bricks in Your Face. And look, even though I said it changed his life, it was for both good and bad. And what I just said gonna make sense later on in the video. But when the song dropped, it blew up, pulling over 28 million views and started bringing so much traction to his name. And with this new money he had coming in, he had to put it back into the music. And that's what he did. He started paying Worldstar to put his songs on their page. And if you remember, the early 2010s was really the time for Worldstar. If you had a song on their page, it was gonna blow up. It was like every rapper wanted their music on Worldstar. And Worldstar, they knew that. So they was charging a couple thousand just to get your song on their page. But Stitches knew how much traction having a Worldstar video was gonna pull. So he just threw the money anyway. And it worked in his favor. He took advantage of the opportunity he had at the time. So he started spamming their page with his music. It was working, growing up so much, bringing all this money. But there was a problem with the money. So Stitches coming from nothing and suddenly having all this money meant bro was about to go crazy. And that's exactly what he did. Started buying all these drugs, cars, anything. And he started to go off the deep end. He was becoming addicted to it and started to rely on these drugs. Then to make it all worse, he had real bad anger problems. Everything he was rapping about was true. If I ain't mentioned, his music was real violent. It was just about like people was calling it metal rap. And on the topic of living his raps, everything going in his life was getting to him. He started to crash out. And in 2015, he ended up beefing with the game and his manager. And this is really the first big hit of Stitches' career. So one random day in 2015, Stitches posted some Twitter DMs, and to give you some context, Stitches and the game had been beefing before. It said that Stitches was talking down on the game's kids, so they had been going back and forth for months leading up to this post. But the Twitter DMs was just a convo between the game and Stitches. And when the game seen it, he responded and said he ain't never sent no message to no man who name rhymes with bitches. He said that Stitches better hope the game don't ever catch him. But after that, they was just doing regular rapper activities, just going back and forth, talking about each other on social media, talking about each other on interviews. Nothing really came of it until one day, Stitches decided to go to a club, but he had a specific reason to go to this club. He knew the game was there and was ready to finally see the game face to face. Stitches get to the club and he just waiting outside for hours. He driving around, just driving back and forth, watching the club, waiting on the game to come out. And when bro finally decided to get out the car, the security was on hots with him. They stopped him right away and they told bro he can't come in this club, he can't come near this club. And after they didn't let him in, he started saying the gang told him not to let him in and started causing all this commotion. And like I said, he knew the game was there, that's why he was saying that. But after security didn't let him in, he started getting on social media, posting, pretty much begging the game to come out the club on IG. Yo, I'm outside the club with the game, man. I'm outside the club, I'm outside the club. The game didn't come out for a while, but eventually that all caught up to him. After making all them Instagram videos, the game and his manager finally decided to come outside. And what happened next would affect Stitches' career forever. So as he was out there, 12 pulled up and they was trying to arrest him for attempted drive-by. They said when Stitches was driving around the club, scouting the area out, he was trying to, you know what I'm saying, shoot the club up. Not that way though. But as Stitches and the cops talking, like I said, the game and his manager walked out that club and Stitches seen them. Stitches rushed past the cops, ran up on White 100, and before the fight even started, it was over. White knocked Stitches out, laid him out on the concrete. And the worst part of it all, it was caught on camera. It went viral. Everybody was clowning Stitches and the game even got on IG trolling. Bro said, hey, That man Stitches just got his whole mouth busted up in front of the policeman. Then right after getting knocked out, the cops arrested him anyway and charged him with resisting an officer without violence, gas possession, and some old warrants. And when his mugshot came out, bro was looking crazy, busted up lip and everything. But right after he got out, he made his IG private. It was talking about how he wanted a fair one-on-one because he got sucker punched. And he said that he'll put 100,000 and he'll beat the game in a fight. But this, well, I think he started being a little delusional, because after he was saying all this, he gonna get online and say the game paid the police off. Bro, no, you was doing dumb shit and the cops arrested you because you was doing dumb shit. Like, it don't got nothing to do with the game. Maybe the security, but the police, they didn't have nothing to do with the game. They just keep getting worse, bro, because just a few days after going viral for getting knocked out, Stitches got jumped by his own crew. And the crazy part is we found out about it because Stitches posted the video himself. He was basically like, yo, my own man's just jumped me, blah, blah, blah. And that went viral too. I wish I had the footage, but y'all know YouTube, you can't do that. But if you look it up, you'll find it. Just look up like Stitches getting jumped by his crew. But soon after this, Stitches dropped a diss track, and the song was just basically Stitches talking down on the game and making fun of him for being a male stripper who went by the name Doja. This nigga, the game, portrayed himself to be this hard ass nigga. Whole time in the background, he shaking ass on stage. Look, that ain't for me to talk about. But after the diss track, Stitches was like, let's do a celebrity boxing match. Keep in mind, this was 2015, so it wasn't something a lot of people did back then. In the game, he was on time and he agreed. He said, bro, let's go fight. But under one condition, you gotta sign a waiver saying that if I hurt you, you can't take me to court. But the fight never actually happened because the game's manager kind of squashed the beef. Wack 100, the game's manager, made a post on IG saying him and Stitches had a good convo and Stitches seen the wrong in his ways, and that was the end of their problems at the time. But that fight invitation Stitches sent out to the game was now floating around, and someone took it and challenged bro to a fight. A Philly rapper named Supreme. Now listen, I don't know how to say it, but the nigga named Supreme, the nigga, the Supreme something, I don't know, however you say that, but it's early 2016, and this boxing match was starting to get some real traction, and the promoter was working one late night and needed a way around, so he was calling Ubers and eventually got the Philly rapper I was talking about as his driver, the Supreme dude. So with Supreme and the fight promoter driving around, they was talking, and I guess the convo was going good because the promoter offered dude some tickets to the fight. Under one condition though, Supreme would have to work as his personal driver. Supreme agreed, and after they was working for a while, they was sitting down at lunch one day and got to talking, and the fight ended up getting brought up, and the promoter started asking bro some real specific questions like, hey, how much you weigh, you ever fought before, how you feel about fighting, just really questions about his body. And after all that, the promoter asked bro if he wanted to fight Stitches. He agreed. He started training and getting ready for this fight until one random night he was at the club, and it turned out Stitches was there at the same time. And Supreme being on timing, he decided to go to the back and meet Stitches face to face.
Like, I was just like, I'm expecting him to go nuts. Like, remember me?
Yeah.
Miami, I thought he was gonna set it off again, but he was so nice. And I was like, what's up, man? We fighting or what?
Yeah.
He said, I don't wanna fight. I like your music. We should do some music together. He's like, this is stupid.
After what the two had been through in the past, Stitches was still cool with bro. I had put a clip showing them fighting before, but YouTube demonetized the video, so I had to cut it out. They ended up canceling the fight. But just a few months after that fight got canceled, Stitches got right back into some more controversy. So it's May 2016 and Stitches slid to Florida because he had a show down there, and his whole trip was going good until he was actually performing. And look, this a time where I could say Stitches was in the right, because the fan was definitely tripping. So as Stitches on stage, the nigga in the green standing right here, you see how he's standing real high with his arms out, was basically trying to get Stitches' attention. And so as Stitches walking across the stage and kind of get close to bro, he punched Stitches in the stomach. Now, if it was hard or not, don't matter, because why you hitting a random grown man in the stomach like you his friend or something, like you his homeboy? Stitches don't know you, nigga. And as you can imagine, Stitches wasn't with it. And right after he got hit in the stomach, he hit bro in the face. I would show the footage, but like I said earlier, it's YouTube. But after getting hit, he stumbled back for a second and was like, I'm not going out like no hoe. So he had some in his hand, threw that right in Stitches' face. And that's when security stepped in. They all started jumping bro and took him out the club, but after this, Stitches was quiet for a few months. In September 2016, Stitches started a beef back up with the game. At the time, everybody thought their beef was done until this day. So news came out saying the game and his crew got bleaked there, and right after the news came out, Stitches got online claiming he did it.
Told them Don't come back to my city. I stayed quiet like nothing was gonna happen.
I don't know why these rappers be so obsessed with self-snitching. I think that's why so many rappers today just be getting hit with all these RICO charges. But the game ain't ever say nothing back. Stitches was quiet for a few months until the start of the new year. He got arrested over something that was 100% his fault. So Wednesday, January 25th, 2017, Stitches was in Miami at a grocery store, and for whatever reason, this nigga decided to park in a handicapped spot, and the cops was ready. They seen him walk in and recognize him. And I mean, how couldn't you recognize, bro? He had the craziest face test I seen in a while. But when he got out the store, the cops started questioning bro right away, and they was talking to him, and at first asked him, do you got a weapon on him? He was like, nah, I don't got nothing on me. All I got is this blunt right here. So he passed the cops the blunt. But they didn't believe him, so they searched his car anyway, and what they found is what got him booked. They found a G-Lock under the seat, 40 grams of gas, and an oxycodone pill with no prescription. He booked bro on that, but he ended up getting bond. Once again, another hit in his career. Even though he got bond, it's still a bad look for your career. Getting arrested this much, being in all this controversy, punching fans, even if it had a reason behind it, it's not gonna look good. But what I'm finna talk about next is really what had people looking at him crazy. 2017 was a strange year for the rap game and was the time where anybody was blowing up. And somebody who blew up during this year was Danielle Bergoli, the Catch Me Outside girl. During that year, she blew up. She was really the face of social media for a while, and someone's attention she caught was Stitches. Even though she's 20 now, she was 13 at the time. And I guess Stitches tried to recreate the amount of growth that she brought to Kodak when she was in his music video, but the way Stitches went about it was so strange. The story of how she got in the music video was crazy. It said that when he first asked the people that was running her social media at the time, because you know she was 13, if she could be in the video, they was like, no man, she can't be in your video. So after they said no, he was still trying and DM'd one of her personal friends, robbing them with money. Now look, we don't know the age of this personal friend or who it was, but if Danielle Bergoli was 13, how old could her personal friend have been? When he offered the money to her friend, they took the offer and it worked. The friend and Danielle, who was 13 at the time, came into this grown man's house and recorded music with him and shot a video. But Danielle said the whole time she was in his house, she felt so uncomfortable. She was like, you know, this is the only time I ever felt weird and uncomfortable being in someone's house. But when everybody started calling him weird, he was like, y'all know I'm not weird. I'm just trying to mentor this 13-year-old girl when she came to my house. Bro, I don't think y'all understand how weird it is. Like, that's a grown-ass man invited a 13-year-old girl into his home. But after this, the controversies really slowed down, other than him getting arrested a few times, being addicted to drugs, falling off music-wise. And look, throughout the years, every time he'd be on an interview, every time he'd be out in public, he used to just brag about how sober he had been. He'd be like, you know, I don't do nothing no more. I'm a changed man. I'm real positive now. But that was just a facade, because in reality, he had never let up off them drugs. Because in August of last year, it all came out. After years of saying he was on drugs, he got arrested for some coke and a firearm charge in the Bay Harbor Islands. Stitches called 12 and was telling him how 4 men broke into his business and how him and his wife had to hide and how he had to let some shots go. But when 12 got there, they couldn't find anybody or anything showing that somebody ever broke into his business. But the only thing they did find was the weapon and some coke. And in the comments of the video I just showed you, literally the whole comment section is just talking about how they thought he was sober. I thought he was clean and was doing good. It's sad Hope bro get his life together. Man, I heard he sobered up. Hope he gets some help. Dude got so high, he called the police on himself. Subconsciously called for help. Wish him the best. Stitches had the whole world convinced that he was sober, that he was perfectly fine now, and that all the negativity and everything that he did in his past was behind him. But in reality, it was still there. He just hid it. The man got so high, he called the police on himself. Like that comment said, a subconscious call for help. Really sad if you're thinking about it, but I do hope one day he can get better, get some help. It's just a sad story of what came with bro life.